All right. Hello, everyone. We had technical difficulties, but we're here now. I think we're here now. I think we're live. I don't know. Do you see me? Do I see me? Here we go. Yes, yes, I think it's working. I think it's working. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 2 of the Superman movie marathon. My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees, and we are back. Hold on. I'm just sending out the brand new link to our audience members. Video. Okay. There we go. There we go. So going to close this. Here we are. All right. So welcome. For those of you who've been able to find us here. Oh, Disney Dado found us. Okay, perfect. This means we're live. It means it's working. That was fun. StreamYard threw me a wrench that I did not expect. But we're here now, and we are here for week 2 of the Superman movie marathon. Tonight, we are talking about 2006's Superman Returns, a sequel to a movie that kind of exists, but also kind of doesn't. Lots of things to say, lots of things to talk about. It'll be an interesting chat, and we've also got some fantastic friends joining us this evening. First off, we've got fan favorite. It's Vince, everybody.
Fan favorite. Hey, how's it going, fans? How's it going, team? How's it going, Matt?
It's going well. I mean, it's okay now that we're broadcasting successfully.
Yeah, Lex Luthor was trying to screw everything up or
He's
something.
trying to take all of my virtual land because that's all
Yeah.
he's good for is taking virtual land. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. But anyway, Vince, how are you? How have you been?
I'm okay, like work is work. I haven't been making too many videos lately, but that's only because I've been working on my magnum opus, which I'm keeping under wraps.
I'm
So,
excited.
oh yeah.
Hold on. I'm just going to send a quick message to one of our other guests because I don't know if they know that we have a brand new link. Hold on. Keep talking for a little bit, Vince.
Brand new link, baby. Yeah, they really threw a wrench in our operation. We're coming on a few minutes late, but it's all good. Hey, leave a comment if you've seen the movie, Superman Returns. I watched it when it was out in theaters, and that's the last time I ever watched it. I thought it was boring at the time, and I feel a little different about it now, and I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Okay. I'm excited to come back around to that. Question for today, Vince. What character would you like to see return in a movie?
In a movie?
Yeah.
Any movie?
Any movie.
Oh, man. That's a tough one. Okay, you're putting me on the spot, but I'd love to see another Mad Max movie. Give me Tom Hardy, give me Mel Gibson. I don't care.
Feel like we have enough of those, but I'll take it. I'll take it. All right. You know who I want to return?
I'd love to.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. I would love the return of a guest who's only been on this show once years ago, before your time, Vince.
Oh, wow.
I know. It's Ben, but not the Ben that we've had, who we love, Ben Gordon. It's a different Ben. It's Ben Dooley, and would you believe it? He's here.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Burns.
Hello, Vince.
Nice to meet you, Ben. How's it
Nice
going?
to meet you as well. What's the list that Superman should be releasing?
A list pertaining to a certain New York socialite that's been floating around in the news a lot lately.
What?
I think.
Look it up. You don't. I don't.
Google
let's
it.
not get into it.
I'm not up to date on current.
Hey, if you know, you know. Leave a comment if you know what list I'm talking about.
If Superman is doing a half decent job, he should indeed be releasing those files. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Okay. Well, Ben, last time you were with us, it was Casablanca.
Yes, during the dark days of COVID, if I recall.
Oh wow,
it probably was. Yeah, way back when. Many
yeah.
Ago. Yeah. So what have you been up to? Like, how's life? How like what's the best movie you've watched since then?
The best movie I've watched since then? Oh man, there's been a few good ones. I'd say probably off the top of my head, and I haven't seen nearly as many movies as I would have liked to. I haven't seen Sinners yet. I have I haven't seen Dune Part 2. I was very impressed by the first one, so would love to see that. But The ones I've seen, I would say Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Classics.
Fantastic. Oppenheimer. And
Barbie, but yeah, okay.
No, I'm big into that. And Anatomy of a Fall.
Oh, the French.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. And I saw it specifically on a day in which I was completely exhausted and probably didn't have the mental bandwidth to focus that much.
Good.
And it was like a big shot of espresso. I was just like sucked into it the whole time, and it's such a brilliant movie. So yeah, so those are probably my favorites.
Très bien, very good. Most of those are movies we've talked about on this channel. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Could have been there.
I need an invite.
Sorry. You get it now. Open invite.
Yeah, you had me for Casablanca, and then you moved on to bigger and better things, evidently. So
it's true, but no. You know, you had to age like the fine wine that you are.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. You're like, let's have him back for that one Superman movie where everybody goes, oh yeah. So.
Well, that's kind of what this movie is. It's like, oh yeah, it was made.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you could really do a full episode on the magnum opus that was Quest for Peace.
Which one is that? Is that 3 or 4 of the?
Yeah, for you people for anybody out there who was born after Mr. Bean's heyday, it's the beloved late great Christopher Reeve. The Superman series ended with Superman 4: Quest for Peace. So that's and I'm old enough to have gotten a toy from that.
Nice. See, I didn't even know there was a Superman 4 until last week during the show when it was just casually mentioned. I thought it ended at 3.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's just even everybody involved probably would admit that it just wasn't. It just wasn't kind of thing. But I remember seeing it when I was like 3 years old and being captivated because I was 3. But we're not talking about that tonight. We're talking about Superman Returns.
Talking about Superman Returns. All right. So, question I always like to open with: had either of you seen this movie before the assignment for this week?
Vince, you want to go first, or Vince?
Yeah, well, I already kind of answered it. I watched it when it came out, and I thought it was a little boring at the time. But now that I've watched it again, I think it's only the last 20 minutes that's really boring, and the rest of it's fine. I don't think it's much better than fine, but it's good. It's fine.
Okay. And Ben, did you see this in theaters when it came out?
I did, and I actually remember it very well because I remember when the first trailer dropped, and like they heavily utilized the John Williams score. And I remember actually I was working at a movie theater at the time, and like the at least I think I was and just when Marlon Brando's voice comes up and you see the start of the music and you see that big field and then there's Kent on the mailbox, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing, because there hadn't been a Superman movie in an extremely long time, and and I know it even felt probably a little bit sacrilegious to be making a Superman without Christopher Reeve, so it felt probably like a good thing to honor, to have that kind of be a part of that timeline and to kind of honor it instead of fully breaking. I think that's probably a good part of the decision. But yeah, I saw it. I took my mom, who is like a massive Superman fan. Like she loved the old George Reeve TV show.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and
nice.
Yeah, and we both, because it was it was one of those ones where we wanted it to be good. So afterwards, when we were talking, we were like, it was in a higher octave. We were speaking. It was good. Yeah. But I would have to agree with Vince. Unfortunately, this movie is extremely boring.
Well, actually, it's a good segue because I want to move into how do we feel it holds up. But I guess I'll move into the first time I saw it, which was for this. I had never seen this. Well, also, until last week, I had never seen a Superman movie, minus Man of Steel. But like, is that really a Superman movie? That's a debate for next week. But for this, all I really knew, like I was acutely aware of it when it came out, but I had no interest in Superman. And for him to return, it was like, I don't care enough about him to care that he's coming back. But I just remembered some of my friends had gone to see it, and they were talking about how, like, during a really quiet, intimate scene, this girl's boyfriend just like said, "Creepy." And apparently it was a scene when he was like looking at the kid asleep in bed.
Yeah.
So there was a scene when he was silently watching a kid asleep in bed. And then granted, I've told the story since then. People were like, it's his son. So I had that spoiled for me, but also I feel like I didn't need it spoiled because I think it's very obvious as soon as that kid is introduced that it's his child. But this was an interesting watch because I liked it towards the beginning, and then I liked it a little bit less as it kept going on. And I didn't expect it to be as heavily connected to the original Superman film as it was, to the point where like they pulled a Star Wars and had the same font, and they were like nostalgia baiting us at the very beginning. The utilization of Marlon Brando was a big surprise. So definitely it had Return to Oz vibes. I don't know if that means anything to anyone watching this, but Return to Oz is such a unique, weird movie because it's like a sequel to a movie that doesn't exist. It is kind of a sequel to the Judy Garland Wizard of Oz, but everything looks totally different, like it's a different universe. And that's kind of what this felt like to me, where it was like I was watching the second part to a movie that doesn't really exist outside of the Christopher Reeves movie. But at the same time, this is very much its own thing because it's a different time period. They're different actors. They picked a Superman who kind of looks like Christopher Reeve, but isn't nearly as charming or as good an actor as Christopher Reeve.
Hey,
well, I mean, we'll get there.
Okay.
And I towards the middle, I realized this is pretty well just a stealthy remake of the original Superman movie, like packaged as a sequel. Like all the story beats are very similar. Lex is still trying to do real estate things. Instead of a helicopter, it was a plane that he saved, and and then he had a kid who was quite obviously his kid. And also, this movie felt so evocative of the time period when it was made. We're at that point now where I feel like early 2000s movies have a feel to them that I can't quite articulate, but this movie had it. Maybe it was James Marsden's presence. Like as soon as he showed up as the other guy, I was just thinking like, of course you're the other person, because that's just who you are. You're always that guy. Like whether it's The Notebook, which I haven't seen, but I've been told he's that guy, the X-Men movies, Enchanted. James Marsden is just always the far better option for the women who don't appreciate him.
Yeah.
Even in Westworld, kind of.
See, there you go. It's his thing. Hashtag justice for. Also, I feel like James could have been Superman. James could have been Superman.
I think he auditioned.
Oh, wait. I think. Do you agree, Jeanette?
I'm so excited. It's the first week I've changed my name.
Hello.
And it's Justice for James Marsden.
His character showed up, and I was so sad because I was like, oh, this is the guy that I'm probably supposed to hate, but it's James Marsden.
I love him so much. He's always the better option. Why are these people blind? I don't understand. X-Men, even in X-Men, he's like the total, like, what the heck is going on here? I wondered why I looked like I had, like, what was going on here? Like when I came in and I was like, yes, this is my argument for the whole thing.
Better, and also like justice for his character, and also justice for James, who should
in general is an underrated actor of our generation.
That too.
I freaking love James Marsden.
James is great. Jeanette, welcome.
Hey,
you made it through all the turbulence of the first link not working.
All my own turbulence. This all the turbulence, but we've landed. It's a safe landing.
We have. I wonder, are my cats watching? Mother and my cats. Usually they're watching, but chime in the comments, cats, if you're here, because we have some viewers, so some people found us. But anyway, welcome, Jeanette. This would have been your first time watching too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
What are your opening thoughts for this movie?
Well, let me prefix everything with there are two effing dirtbags attached to this film. Let's preface everything.
Kevin, who's the other one?
Bryan Singer.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah, this is a real mess.
Yeah, let's just
then-
preface everything with I understand that and I don't like it and I don't like that I paid money to watch this movie. So yeah, there's that. However, there's also James Marsden and Parker Posey. So
Yeah.
there's that too, and that makes me happy. There's also Kate Bosworth. You know, there's that too. So yeah.
Hashtag should have been Rachel McAdams.
Hashtag could have been a million other people, and I would have felt a lot more excited about it. But yeah, my first impressions were that it is better than the original. Dare I say that? I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed this one a heck of a lot more. Just entertainment wise.
With cardboard cutout Clark Kent / Superman?
I didn't have to listen. Oh, I didn't like Superman at all. Parker Posey saved the movie for me, pretty much.
Great.
Yes.
I just don't. It was the easy listening talk over flying scene that really killed the first movie for me. I enjoyed everything on Krypton. If the whole movie had been on Krypton, I said this last week, would have been super happy. But no, that's not what Superman's story is, and that's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed this one. It was just more entertaining. And for I think Kevin Spacey would have fallen flat if it wasn't for Parker Posey. That's my big take on this one.
Like, I feel like, having only seen last week's movie and this, and again, Man of Steel, that doesn't count. I'm not into Lex Luthor. I don't think he's an interesting villain.
He's like the lamest. I don't like Lex Luthor.
Or like, for those who know this way, for those who know Superman better than me, is Lex better than he was portrayed by Gene Hackman and Kevin Spacey, or is he just a boring villain? Like, what's
No,
the
he's most interesting in the '90s Superman cartoon.
Okay.
You know,
Okay,
he's
as
played
is usual with these DC characters.
and in that he's also modeled after Telly Savalas, who's Kojak. You guys know Kojak?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the old bald cop show. Before
Like,
we
that's
had
the guy
Breaking
with the
Bad,
lollipop,
we had
right?
Kojak.
That's the lollipop guy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Because he's quitting smoking. That's like
Yeah.
his thing.
Okay.
He's-
Well, I mean, at least he was bald in this movie, so there is that. Yeah. I did like how at the beginning he tore off his hair, and I thought, okay, at the very least, if I'm supposed to connect you to the Gene Hackman Lex, this justifies it. Like, you
Yeah.
were a wig, so.
Exactly. I was like, obviously, I do. Okay, can I say something? This was my other first impression. This is the Evil Dead 2 of Superman.
Ooh.
It's just retelling the second half of the first movie and excluding some characters, including some new characters, changing up the pace a little bit. I was like, it pretty much just Evil Deaded Superman.
I think that's a good way to put it. Were you able to hear me or listening when I was comparing it to Return to Oz?
No.
No, yeah, I was saying that to me, this movie is like a weird mirror of Return to Oz, and that it's a sequel to a movie that doesn't exist. Like, it's all of these characters that are vaguely familiar, and it works off the assumption that we saw this original masterpiece, if you will, and it's building on that, even though it's so much its own universe. It's a weird thing. But I am curious to hear from Vince and Ben, for those who have seen the movie previously. How do you feel it holds up? Let's start with Vince.
Look, I said what I said. You know, I think it's very tolerable up until after the climax. You have this extended scene, this 20-minute thing where, like, is Superman gonna die or not? Like, come on.
Yeah.
You could have turned that into 5 minutes and then it would cut the credits. I would have been a lot happier. It left a bad taste in my mouth. But aside from that, I didn't mind Brandon Routh. I thought he was fine. You know, if I hired him to, like, appear at my firstborn's birthday party, I'd be very satisfied with the Superman performance. And that's kind of what they did. It was open auditions, and they're like, we got to find the next Chris Reeves. And they did. I don't know. They found Brandon Routh, and I feel bad looking at his career and being like, you know, I wish. You got to feel bad when you land Superman and then you don't do anything else, right? But I'm sure. Yeah,
I was wondering. I
somewhere.
had not looked him up, and I was like, I mean, I really feel like I haven't seen this guy, but maybe I'm just ignorant. I don't think I've seen this guy
I
anywhere.
don't know, really. I know of him from Scott Pilgrim.
Who was he in Scott
Oh.
Pilgrim?
He was one of the
one-
exes.
Oh, good.
The vegan. I think he was the vegan.
Okay,
Yeah.
everybody's in freaking Scott Pilgrim, dude.
Scott
It's
Pilgrim is
amazing.
fast. And Chris Evans as well. Like
It's amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
he's got a very funny cameo, and Zach and Miri make a porno too.
does he play himself?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
well, he plays. Well, I probably if I described it, he plays somebody that Elizabeth Banks went to high school with that she has a crush on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It would have
Yeah,
been funny
yeah,
with Superman. But like a bad porno Superman. That would have been
that would be a lot funnier.
that would have been a lot of fun. Yeah. Ben, I don't know if we've discussed this yet. Have you told us how do you think it holds up?
Well, I mean, I rewatched. I didn't rewatch it from beginning to end. I must confess, but I remember what I thought of the movie. It was just. I mean, first, I think Brandon Routh did a good job as Superman. Yeah, I kind of agree. He did sort of get shafted. It kind of sucks when you land a big role like that, and then the industry buzz is through the roof, and the marketing's through the roof, and then if the movie comes off kind of meh, people tend to want to blame things, want to have somebody to blame everything on, and they're like, oh, okay,
Michael Ziegler syndrome.
yeah, maybe this guy can't carry a movie, or he wasn't up to it. But no, I thought he did fine. My problem with the movie, and we've alluded to a little bit, is it's kind of an example of the difficulty of what it is in making a Superman movie, because he is this extremely powerful being. So you have to put him up against stuff that are genuine threats. And what he's up against is Lex Luthor, which I think, Kevin Spacey was born to play, perhaps even in real life too. But he was he does a phenomenal job of it. But he goes up against Lex Luthor, who again, his whole thing is land and an island, which and at the end of the day, his biggest challenge is just kind of grunting while he's lifting the thing and throwing it into space. But that's not, and throughout the movie, what I found kind of underwhelming about it is that anytime any character is in trouble, Superman's going to come by at the last second and save it. So it's not, you're not scared for anybody on screen. I would say probably not to, there were things that I do think worked in it, and not to just be super negative because we're on the internet, and I know Lord knows that's its bread and butter, but let's try and pull ourselves out of this pit, shall we? There's some fantastic imagery in it. Some people go on about the space shuttle sequence, which I thought was pretty good, but I was really actually quite moved by the scene where Lex gets his kind of ultimate revenge and stabs Superman. Spoiler alert. Like when he's beating him up and stabbing him and stuff. I felt like Superman, it's that thing. So I thought that kind of ignited the childhood bit in me, even if it's childhood trauma. But I thought that was very well done. So, but overall, it's kind of, I think, a sort of C+ as a movie, just because I don't think much is done with the character at the end, and it wasn't obvious to me that it was his kid at the beginning, the first time I saw it, but it's also, it's a little bit enough with the, I don't have glasses, but not knowing the difference between having the glasses and not having the glasses. Maybe we could suspend our disbelief just a little bit more, but, and then when people aren't really sure whether or not it's Superman's kid after he pitches a piano across the room.
I had so many questions about that, but that was one thing that really almost irked me about this movie. It was the first time that I really understood the meme of, people don't recognize him without his glasses. For whatever reason, like in the Christopher Reeves movie, whether it's performance or costume design, and likely a combination of both, I could buy people not
No, there was way more. The acting, I will say, the acting was way more there in the first one, as far as like between the two characters. There was way more difference in how this guy did not change how he acted at all.
Aesthetically, though, Brandon as Clark versus as Superman looked exactly the same.
Yeah, literally
Carried himself, and there was that one scene halfway through when I thought they were going to acknowledge it, and they didn't. When James and Kate were like, "Hey, how tall is Clark? How much do we think Clark weighs?" Is it? No. It's like, oh, come on, guys.
And it's also, why is Superman and Clark Kent never in the same room at the same time, even though Clark Kent is a bloody reporter and there's this guy zipping around the city all the time? Like,
to that point, I was wondering, like, that more or less that exact same scene when she goes on the roof and she goes flying with him. She comes back and Clark is there eating Chinese food with everyone else. I'm just thinking, like, what? From the perspective of Jimmy and James Marsden, did Clark not also just leave for almost the exact same amount of time as Lois?
Yeah,
like
there was a movie that was nearly probably people know it that was nearly produced and directed by Tim Burton in the late 90s.
Oh yeah, Cage.
But in the preliminary stuff, it was going to be Nicolas Cage, but if you actually look at photos of Nicolas Cage as Clark Kent.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a heck of a lot more sense. Like he's somebody, he's got like long, straggly hair and like a tweed jacket and blue jeans and a Mickey Mouse T-shirt. And
he kind of looks like Tim Burton when Tim Burton was younger and was a nerd at work. Like he kind of looks like that.
And also, you would never guess that dude is Superman.
No,
so
no.
It made more sense. But
him in the Superman outfit though does kind of look like Superman in like a rock music video, not like Superman for a movie. It was kind of funny.
Superman.
Yeah. It was very like I don't know. That whole thing. I've always been perplexed and like very interested to see what would have come of that. I love that idea.
I need to dive deeper into that rabbit hole. I have seen like the Superman costume. I didn't know that they released the look for him as Clark Kent.
Yeah,
that's fascinating.
I probably.
Oh,
sorry, go ahead. No, I was just going to say, I probably knew more about that Superman than I did about any of the Supermans we're going to watch. That's probably the one I knew more about.
Well, I think that this movie is really interesting to me because at this point in time, I just feel like Superman is like Batman or Spider-Man, where there have been so many guys who've played him. Whereas I think, that is simultaneously true, but also it's a relatively new thing that started with this movie. Because I mean, there was Lois and Clark, there was the TV show, plus the like 1950s TV shows, but more or less before this film, it was just Christopher Reeve as movie Superman. And I feel like it kind of felt like an untouchable holy grail thing to like, we can't have another movie Superman until this movie. And now I think we're just also not desensitized to it, but I think Superman has sort of become one of those characters that is bigger than Christopher Reeve. Is like I can't think. Well, I guess kind of like a Batman.
I was kind of drawing comparisons to Cinderella and Dracula. How it's been made now at this point, even in such a short amount of time, has been made enough where I feel like, oh, it's one of those stories that anybody can do. Like I'm not going to be upset if anybody plays Superman. You know.
Yeah. Also, on the original Superman, that was the very first time a studio made a big budget comic book movie, as far as I know. And probably before then, people were thinking like, are people actually going to come watch this? Kids, maybe.
Well, and it didn't, they were like, it needs comedy because that's the only thing that was successful was Batman, right? It was Adam West Batman. And it was, they had made like a movie length one of that, but it wasn't in movie theaters. And that was kind of how everybody viewed superheroes, was like, it's schlocky. And like, the original Superman movie had comedy. It had tons more comedy than this one did. And but it wasn't schlocky, I don't think, you know?
Yeah, no, it wasn't campy or anything like that. And they did something which I don't think they did again really until the Marvel universe came along, which is they got established serious actors to be in it. Like, the fact that they were able to pay a ton of money to Marlon Brando and get him in it, that probably changed the movie's fortunes quite a bit. And in Superman Returns, by the way, I should say, like, I love the actors that they put in this. I mean, you have like Ava Marie Saint, the wonderful, amazing Ava Murray Saint, who I think it just turned 100 years old, coming back. And
When she did this?
Sorry?
Wow.
In this movie, she's 100 years old?
No. She's 100 years old now.
Oh, okay, good.
Was she Ma Kent? Was she?
Yeah. She was Ma Kent. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And this was a good connection to Marlon Brando. She starred with him in On the Waterfront, and
oh wow,
yeah, in one of my favorite movies as well, North by Northwest. She really steals. She goes toe to toe with these giant actors and more than holds her own and everything. So, and she's not in it nearly as much as maybe I'd like her to be, but yeah, and like I said, Parker Posey is great, and so the cast is really, really good. I'm actually blanking. Frank Langella.
Frank Langella, yeah, another friend of the show from Frost Nixon.
Right.
You guys did Frost Nixon?
We had President.
Okay, all right. I'm glad you didn't invite anybody who maybe is in politics and
we're all in politics nowadays, aren't we?
I know, but
and journalism. I was in journalism too, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Well, when we do President Month again, you're more than welcome.
Are we doing another one?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Did you guys do Lincoln?
No, we did. What did we do?
We did
Lincoln. That's
a bunch of JFK movies.
We did that one with Michael Douglas.
Oh, The American President.
Yes.
Yes.
That's one of the most romantic movies ever. Sorry, I'm taking it off topic from Super.
We did the
good movie. You're right.
Butler. We did the Butler, American President.
We did JFK, right? At some point.
House of Yes.
Yeah.
House of Yes, exactly. I was going to say we did Parker Posey again.
Yeah.
We are big Parker Posey stands on this channel.
Cool. I would have loved to have been in the JFK one because that's My dad was like a big conspiracy theorist on JFK. I think so. He showed it to me when I was 8 years old. And it's like, yeah.
Nice.
But I've since gone back to it and looked at it and been like, this is a really dishonest movie.
It is. It's part of the joy.
It's just really.
Like, what's real? We don't know.
I did one anecdote. We'll get back to Superman. But I once was really fortunate enough I was to meet an old White House reporter by the name of Sid Davis, amazing guy. But he had been at the White House for like over 50 years. Just to sit and listen to this guy was incredible. But he was actually there the day JFK was killed, and he was actually in the parade, and he's in the photograph of Johnson being sworn in on the plane. So we're talking. So he was retelling the story. And he's like, "Yeah, and I heard 3 shots." And and as a joke, I said, "Oh, are you sure it was just 3?" He looked at me dead serious, not funny. He's like, "It was 3." Some people who made money off of that BS, but anyway.
Wow.
But Superman.
Yeah, Superman. Here we go. So I guess I was going to segue. I feel like Brandon Routh has kind of gotten lost to history in this movie. I think this movie, just since there was only one, it was like a little blip. And then all the attention went to Henry Cavill, for better or worse, as this generation's Superman. But how do we feel about Brandon as is he the people's Superman? Is he the relatable one? Like who is Brandon as Superman for all of us? What do we think?
He felt a little flat, a little frozen fish patty. A little I don't know that this is a thing. It's a thing. I don't know. It was very nonplussing, his performance. I felt it was like not bad, but not good. So not good that maybe it might have been a little bad. I don't
know. Vince, what do you think?
Look, playing Superman, there's this fine line you gotta walk where you can't be too exciting, but you can't be too boring. And look, Brandon Routh might have been closer to too boring, but I don't think he was that bad. At least he wasn't too much. Because if you're too much, then it's not good.
But do we think either on his part or the part of Bryan Singer that he directed it, right? Batman directed. Okay, yeah, not Batman, but the Bad Man directed it. Yeah, do we think there was an intentional choice made to try to make him as similar to Christopher Reeve as possible? I'm not saying I got that, but I feel like the rest of this movie is very much supposed to be in the vibe of the original film. Do we feel like they were setting out to like just say, here's Christopher Reeve now, don't notice that's a new guy? Or do we think that they were trying to embrace him being his own Superman? I feel like it fell unsuccessfully between the two into just like a meh.
I think it's fair to say like Bryan Singer was nostalgia tripping. You know, I'm sure he watched it as a younger man. The 78, 77 movie.
Yeah,
78, and Anyway, I look. I think for better or for worse, that's the decision they chose to make. And yeah, I feel like if they came out with an original Superman at that time who wasn't like constantly paying homage to the Chris Reeves, then there would have been a very negative public backlash. So maybe that was the right move to make. And just because it was boring, it faded to history. So who knows?
Yeah, I would agree with both of you guys. Although I would say that you're kind of only as good as the material you're given, and I just think in terms of the plot, I don't even know what this is really about. Superman's point of view, other than he thought he was alone in the universe in the beginning, and now it turns out he's not alone. There's another Kryptonian. It's the sun, that kind of thing. Okay, but that's not really. You don't really get that from a cursory viewing of it, or is it? Does the world really need Superman anymore? And the answer is yes, because he's the only one who can pick up an island. Okay, you know. And it just doesn't. I don't think he and Kate Bosworth really have very much chemistry.
No, none at all.
Yeah, and I don't really get Lois Lane from her, frankly.
No.
But it's also kind of bland because it doesn't feel like there's really stakes for anybody because Superman's going to come in and save everybody.
There's no stakes and there's no comedy. They're the only comedy. Again, Parker Posey carries all of the comedy in her, and maybe a little bit of Sam Huntington, the guy that plays what's his face,
Jimmy Olsen.
That's it. Yeah,
I love a
little bit of him. Which I cannot stop seeing the kid from Jungle to Jungle when I look at him. Like that's all I see is the kid from Jungle to Jungle. That's him. I just like I love that movie. So, but yeah, those two and mostly Parker Posey of those two. And that is one thing I do say, like, this one was slightly more entertaining to me than the first one. That's just because I have something with movies in the 70s. I don't know. Most of them are very hard for me to watch. But it's, I don't know. But that one thing with the no comedy, I was like, this makes all these scenes with Lex Luthor, like, until Parker. Yeah.
Yeah, not just no comedy. He doesn't throw a punch the entire movie either.
Yeah, right. He uses like all these powers. He
no necks are snapped.
He uses like cold breath and X-ray vision, and none of the effects are very wowing. I will say they don't look terrible. Yeah, they haven't aged bad. They haven't aged poorly, which is great. Like if Lucas would have taken just a slight nod, maybe it wouldn't look so bad. But I'm like it doesn't look bad, but also does not look exciting. Like I was like, this is not. It's like if you told Michael Bay you have to take it down a few notches. Like it's like I want to have explosions, but they're little explosions. I don't know. Like you've said before, like the lifting of the island out of the water was really the biggest special effect the whole time, other than that plane series, the plane and the shuttle.
Yeah, I feel like that's just such a good metaphor for this movie about how like the effects didn't look bad,
but they're also not great. Everything is not bad, but not great.
Yeah, and especially the flying scenes really stood out to me because I also noticed, I was like, this doesn't look bad, but it's not that exciting. Like it hasn't aged poorly in a way where it's funny to look at, but it's just not that like the flying scenes are what stood out to me from last week's movie the most. Like whether or not we like Lois's little sing-songy spoken slam poetry
Yeah.
while she's flying. Like the flying effects legitimately wowed me just in terms of thinking like, how is this practically done? I feel like it was a mix of different things. And even though like you don't get the speed, let's say, because it's an actual person flying, but it's an actual person flying. And so I just found that so much more engaging than the very obvious CGI'd animated or composite flying that we got in this movie, because it lost a little bit of the magic or the wow factor that I feel we got from the first film.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So especially because this is Bryan Singer, this especially brought this to my mind. So we know Iron Man was 2009, right? That was kind of, we can all agree that was kind of the beginning of this era of superhero movies. Yes, like for whether or maybe Incredible Hulk, As far as where we are,
put it as Christopher Nolan starting it off again with
Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was that? That was 2005. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe that even more so points out what I'm trying to get to.
Wait,
X-Men,
what about X-Men though?
So that's the second half of this. Is I'm saying I would call that what we're saying 2005, 2006 with this one right here, the beginning of where we are now. And you're right, because it starts that angsty, dark series of things. X-Men, was Bryan Singer's as well, and that's what I used to view as the start of this era. But in hindsight, that is not. It does not have that edge. It is still very more comic booky, almost like the what's his name's Batman's in the 90s. I can't.
Tim Burton?
No.
Joel Schumacher.
Schumacher. There we go.
Yeah.
Almost akin, like it's grown up a little bit from the Schumacher, but it's not totally evolved yet, right? And so I feel like the X-Men kind of, and I love the X-Men, don't get me wrong. I freaking love those movies. Like, I don't really think there's a bad X-Men movie. I really don't. And so I just feel like, how do we feel about that? Like, obviously, we've kind of said, yes, we kind of feel like this angsty, dark part is the beginning, right? What we see here, what we see in Batman Begins. And then we move into, I think Iron Man might have been the beginning of the good CGI. That's probably where I would go, is like, as far as like the really, really good CGI. Because Nolan uses a lot of good practical effects. He uses some CGI, but he uses a hell of a lot of good practical effects. And so that's why his looks so freaking good and ages so well. That's for sure how I feel about his movies. I mean, that's the best ones of all, for sure. But like, how do we all feel about the timeline and the evolution of, like, Bryan Singer did X-Men? How do we feel like where he got in, that was 2000, 2001. So in 5 years, let's say, how do we feel about where he got in 5 years?
From X-Men to this movie?
From X-Men to this movie.
Ooh.
I would say X-Men X2 is better than this film.
Yeah.
I would say, yes. But I think X2 is like the Bryan Singer high water mark.
Like, I think the Superman of it all plays a really big role in terms of the expectations, which I almost feel like we're seeing now. I haven't seen the new Superman movie yet, but I feel like that's kind of what we're seeing now as well, where no matter who's doing it, the fact that it is a Superman movie has certain expectations that need to be met no matter who's directing it. So I feel like with X-Men, that was, even though there were expectations set out by the comic books, that was almost like a blank canvas for him to play with. How to realize that, as opposed to this, where he had to, probably very much imposed by the studio, have it connect to a very specific film franchise that was successful in its own right. And so I think the negotiation between those two things kind of left it being blah and kind of without a vision. I think that's the main thing. I think this, compared to the X-Men movies, I think this lacks a coherent artistic vision, the same way that
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. The X-Men movies, particularly the second one, were really about things, and I think, slipping a lot of social commentary into that as well. So in that way, it kind of reflected public discourse even about certain issues at the time. Superman is just, I get to make a Superman movie, but it's a Superman movie, and let's let's try to draw on the same canvas, I guess, as opposed to doing something differently. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I would agree with you the whole time you've been saying like this movie's not really about anything, and it's really not. He's just doing like random like
He's just doing Superman things.
like do-gooder crime solving almost. Like I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
which,
stop
by the
a
way,
bank robbery. It's
those are
what
kind of
Superman does, right? Like that's what he does in the comic books for a lot of it. Like he goes and saves people.
But I feel like
and,
it was,
I mean, to be fair, that's kind of the Christopher Reeve movies as well. He's a superhero, and
Yeah.
but it kind of probably the zeitgeist. Not to get too wonky with it, but like the Christopher Reeve movies came out right after Vietnam ended, and I think people needed to feel America as the hero kind of thing.
Yeah,
Right.
and more lighthearted, like not like
Yes.
killing
movies
a bunch
fun.
of people and all of that, just like saving the day, being
Yeah,
the good guy.
70s movies were generally real downers. It's I won the case, and then the person runs out and gets a bullet to the head, and that's the end of the movie. And so Star Wars, it made movies fun again, and a simple good guy bad guy thing. But I think it's an interesting point you bring up, Jeanette, about it's kind of between the Nolan stuff and the Marvel stuff, and the kind of they were more like event superhero movies in the beginning. X-Men, shout out to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man too.
Yep.
We never got Spider-Man.
Yeah, we didn't mention that one. Yeah.
And then you had like Daredevil and Elektra, and these things were kind of over stylized. I think with that kind of, was it rock rap that was big at the end?
And they all still had that very like truly comic book, and that's what I meant by the Schumacher film, because I like the Schumacher films. I know people don't like the Schumacher films, but like I still have lots of fun with them. But that's just that they're fun. They're just like fun. And this one could have been that, and then it was just not. It was like, well, we're still not in the realm of like angsty Superman yet, but we're also not in the fun X-Men Spider-Man era of 2001 either. Like we're in this weird flux time.
I think it was it was kind of a downer too, the idea of being an angsty Superman a little bit, because it's supposed to be
Superman's not like that. Superman is the do-gooder guy. He's the not happy-go-lucky, but he's like playing a schmuck just so he can be amongst humans. Like that's really what he's doing, and that's great. Batman doesn't do that. Batman's like, I don't like people. I'm gonna live in a cave. Like he's a lot easier to make some deep dark storyline about,
Yeah. It's also long before maybe it's getting ahead of ourselves, because I know you're going to be talking about another movie next week of because of Christopher Nolan, people suddenly thought that they had to make every superhero movie dark.
Yes.
Dark, deep, kind of like the same way an emo kid would think in high school, and it's not really that.
Being of the crowd, I would say they were targeting in 2006. I didn't go to the theater to see this, and I'm like trying to think about what I was going to see in 2006, but I definitely didn't. I was 18 or 19 in 2006. So like, I feel like I was in a target crowd for this, and I definitely this came up this week, whenever it was on the list, I was like, 2006? I don't remember Superman movie in 2006.
Summer of Pirates 2. That was my big movie.
That's what I was going to see then. I'll tell you right now, that's what I went to go see.
But what was I going to say? To backtrack a bit, I think one of the things that stood out to me as being really weird about this movie is that, it's not fun, but it's also not about anything, but they very lazily, in my opinion, try to make it about something with the whole incorporation of his son. And like Ben, you touched on about how it's about how he's alone, but then he's not alone because he has a kid, but then he leaves the kid at the end.
You mean Tiny Tim? I'm so tired of fucking Tiny Tim in this movie.
That's the thing. That character is such a nothing character. No hate on the child actor.
Yeah,
the way that character is portrayed is not that engaging, and it feels like they're trying to very lazily weave in this idea of like fathers and sons, connecting him to Marlon Brando's character, and how he has that moment at the end where I think he's like verbatim repeating the message that Marlon Brando said to him. I'm like, this would be a nice moment if it was earned, but this movie did not earn this moment.
Yeah, I also did you ever hear what the sequel idea was for this movie?
This? No, what? Tell us.
Yeah, I think afterwards, because it was a middling reception. I don't think it wasn't like a bomb or anything like that. It just wasn't what I think the industry was expecting. But so maybe part and parcel to get people interested or something. He said, for the sequel, we're going to go full Wrath of Khan, which which. I mean, Kevin Smith had a whole thing where he pointed out that how the first Star Trek movie is insanely boring, and the second one is wild and dark and does new things, kind of thing. So apparently, the idea was, I don't think I love it, but that the son grows up a bit, turns evil, and then Superman at the end has to kill his own son.
I would love.
I mean, that at least is about something. That's a big something.
And it addresses the question I had, which was, you're just going to leave this super-powered child unsupervised?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was
with
like,
no training, no nothing.
The whole ending was too much. There were 4 endings, and I was like, can we stop?
Yeah.
Like every time an ending would happen, I was like, we done?
Yeah, that was it.
Nope.
That way, yeah. I had Avatar 2 flashbacks when they were in the water, And
everybody leave my poor Avatar 2 alone. Leave poor James Cameron.
That movie also has 4 endings, though. And it was although I'll say this movie has no business being as long as it is.
No, when I saw the length of the movie this week, I was like, oh, really? A freaking superhero movie from 2006 is this long? But you're right, though, Batman Begins. But you know what? Christopher Nolan can do that. It's okay. Yeah, I don't question it when it's Christopher Nolan.
But there's also, that's a good point, actually. This is right after The Lord of the Rings came out. And so studios were like, yeah, every movie can be 3 hours.
Yes, you're so right. Oh, my God.
The one movie where that did work from this era, by the way, that I was fine with was The 40-Year-Old Virgin. That movie actually, it does.
Was that 2.5 hours long?
It was more than that. It was like, I think 2:45.
Stop it! I would have never guessed. I love that's fine. Yeah,
I love that movie because that's a great, like, I love hanging out with those guys in that.
Yeah,
like,
I wouldn't take anything out of that movie. I wouldn't take anything out of that movie.
But
movies are fine to be long if it's justified. But I felt this movie dragging.
Oh, there were so many. Okay, here's a little bit of behind the curtain here. Okay. Yesterday some stuff happened, and then today the power kept flickering. So like there were parts of this movie that I had to fast forward. I was like, oh, looks like I can fast forward through this. And I'd do like 20 seconds and they'd still be flying or something. And I'd be like, okay, 20 more seconds and 20 more seconds. I'm like, oh my God, okay, I get it. We're flying over water. Why do we have to have so much flying over water?
It's so weird, though, to think, like, when I was talking about the movie last week, one of the things I said was that I loved how they took time with things in a way that movies now wouldn't be able to do. And I meant that, and I still feel that. But it's like, this movie did that too, and I hated it.
Unnecessarily. It was just stupid. And it was CGI like stuff. It wasn't like we were looking at these beautiful shots they'd gotten or anything. It was just a bunch of CGI stuff. I'm like, why are we looking at this? I don't understand.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I think Brandon Routh forged his own kind of good journey out of this. It's a shame that, like, people kind of look at you based on, I think, probably the first few things that they see you in. So it's, I don't know. It makes me think of that, the movie Ted, where they like go out of their way to shit on this movie right at the end. I don't know if you remember that. But
in which one?
It's something like they give an epilogue for every character, and then there's one guy is a character in it who plays himself, who's the guy I think in Masters of the Universe.
Oh, okay.
And afterwards he moved into a small apartment in Los Angeles and tried to restart his career with Brandon Routh. And then they show picture of Brandon Routh. He's like, do you guys remember that Superman movie? Holy shit. Way to get our expectations up and get that whole Patrick Stewart narrating that just for no reason.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway.
That's savage.
It is pretty savage. It's not very nice.
Poor Brandon. And I also, just like I don't blame the kid, I don't blame Brandon. Like, I think this movie is just a
I think
byproduct
the
of
screenplay might have been the weakest part of this whole movie. The screenplay, and probably, I mean, I don't know if it's the directing or the cinematography, how everything just, I don't know, everything was just kind of flat and felt the same. Like no scenes felt differently lit than any other scenes. Like everything felt like it was the same lighting package on every scene. I didn't feel like there was I could not tell if it was day or night at all in this movie. It was like everything is the same. So I don't know who that falls on, but everything was just so monotone. And I really don't, unless you're the movie 300 specifically, I don't like that. Because I do not accept any Zack Snyder DC films. I don't want them. You can keep them. I do like Sucker Punch. I will say that. But like other than that, I change your lighting. Like if you're not 300, I don't get it out of here.
Speaking of get it out of here, Lois Lane. I did not like her in this movie either. I'm starting to think I just don't like Lois Lane. I think I don't want to use a derogatory term, but she is not a nice lady.
That right there. I have never liked Lois Lane as a character at all.
She's so superficial and shallow. And
yes.
I don't know. I feel more for Clark in all these movies, especially this one where I do like, we kind of had the discussion last week about like which one is more aligned to who this person truly is. Like, is Superman his true persona or is it Clark? And I think Christopher Reeve kind of leaves it questionable, but points were made, very good points about how Superman is more his true self and like Clark is a mask or like him presenting as his parody of humanity, let's say, and like that's all good and interesting. Whereas in this, I feel like, to me, this portrayal of Superman / Clark feels very grounded and very much like true to who this human being is when he is both Superman and Clark. I think that's a byproduct also of slightly not that great directing and not very interesting acting. But that said, it made me feel even more for Clark, where it like, from Lois's perspective, this is the exact same person, and it just highlighted to me how shallow she is, that she's head over heels for Superman, whereas literally the exact same person is in her office throwing himself at her, and she's like, "You're nothing." Like,
well, and like I just always think about, and Lois Lane in general, the fact that like how she acts towards Superman versus towards Clark Kent. If you swap the gender roles in that, everybody would think that guy was a total asshole.
Oh yeah.
Like they'd be like, wow, what a douche. He like, and nobody would like him. And I guess I don't. And also like she smokes. Like, I don't know. I mean, we're just also like, we're supposed
I'd like to comment on that.
Who cares? It doesn't matter if she smokes, but sorry.
Well, no. Last week she was a believable smoker. This week she is not a believable smoker. Those are not smoking teeth, my friend. So
nor was that smoking hair or smoking makeup. At least the makeup was better this week. Oh my God, the makeup last week on that woman, so bad.
But I don't know. I hope for next week Amy Adams wins me over on Lois Lane.
Oh, is that who we get as Lois Lane next week? Oh, I'm so excited. That'll be the only part I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and I remember not disliking her the one time I watched Man of Steel. Like, it didn't plant the seed in me of Lois Lane as a garbage character / human being, which these movies have. Like, I like the actresses. I think they're, well, maybe that's a strong word. I don't mind the actresses, but I just do not care for this very shallow, poorly written character.
Sure. Well, okay. So Lois Lane's honor has been impugned, and I feel like I must defend it. I freaking love Lois Lane.
What's to love?
What do you mean, what's to love? First off, I think, I'm not steeped in the Lois Lane lore, but I mean, first off, I love the first movie growing up, and I had a bit of a crush on Margot Kidder, and I think she does a fantastic job and is gorgeous as a Lois Lane, but also it's a female character that was out there that yes, she can in some, I'm sure in many storylines she's kind of there to be rescued, but so is literally everybody else in Metropolis. Yeah. But she's a female character that can really hold her own and kind of doesn't. is more street smart, and I think that was a good portrayal to have out there. And also in Superman 2, which we didn't, which I know you guys didn't do, she figures out it's Superman, and he's much more.
It's Superman by potentially killing Clark.
Yeah, but she doesn't.
But to her mind, Clark is expendable. She's like, this is worth it if I'm wrong.
She wouldn't do that unless she was certain. So, and the Christopher Reeve much more crafts his Clark Kent to be forgettable, or that kind of person that you like him, but you're not really paying too much close attention to him in the office kind of thing. Well, and that's and for better or for worse, humans are like that when they come across certain characteristics. We shouldn't be like that, but unfortunately we are a lot of the time. So yeah, but yeah, and I love Kate Bosworth, and I've enjoyed her in other things, but yeah, it's an underwritten, underdone performance, I think, in that, but then that's okay.
Yeah, no, she was fine. I mean, I didn't dislike her, like the actress. I just was reminded as to I guess I went in thinking, oh, this was made closer to now, so therefore maybe Lois has been updated in a way that is more aligned with what I want to see from a character like this. But she wasn't.
Yeah.
No, she was no. This character was more of a nothing burger than last week. Which last week, at least, she did hold her own. Like, she seemed brassy. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily to me in an enjoyable way the whole time, but like she was definitely more, pick him up by the bootstraps than this one. This one was a little mamby-pamby, and Dad didn't even come across as a good mother. I just the whole time, I just felt her trying to get away from her, not husband, whatever. The whole movie, I felt like more of the point of the movie was her trying to get away from James Marsden to be with Superman. I saw 8 scenes of James Marsden looking sad about her being into Superman. I'm like, that's really the point of this freaking movie. And it does not make me like her character in this movie. It's like, oh, great. Wow. That's
what
nice.
About the fact that Superman disappeared and then she basically married Superman?
I would have loved a James Marsden Superman. Can I just say he really looks like Superman to me? He looks like he would have been freaking great.
Yeah, I know he was up for the part, but
God, wait, I would have loved that.
He was there. I don't know if it was for the Bryan Singer. I think he probably did audition and then was given this part. But I know that there was also Brett Ratner was going to try and do it in the late 90s, like Superman Flyby, I think it was called.
Wow.
So they've been trying to make this movie for a while, or a Superman movie for a while. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Well, to that point, it is interesting that she went with a guy who looks like Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just to film.
I think it's deliberate.
Yeah. No, and I think it would have paid out in a stronger. Maybe even if they reversed the casting, if Brandon Routh played that role, and then James was Clark/Superman.
To your point, I think that James Marsden's performance in Westworld shows that he would have been a better Superman. Just in my opinion, him having that kind of being able to be an empathetic character, a sympathetic character, someone that we feel for, but also shows strength. I don't know. I really think he would have done a better job with it.
No, I think it's very telling that I personally feel like he was one of the most interesting characters in this movie, and he's not that interesting of a character on paper.
Yeah.
It was him and Parker Posey, and maybe that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and
I mean, I think Kevin Spacey's great in the movie.
That's okay. Yeah, actually, I don't think Lex is a character I find that interesting, but for a Lex, I think he was great. Yeah,
I kind of feel like he Nicolas Caged it though. He just was Kevin Spacey. He was
I think that was probably at the time that was probably the most on the nose casting you could possibly think of. Of course.
Yeah, he is this guy. Let's make him this guy. Sure. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. I like that one of the dogs ate the other dog. That was fun.
I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out what happened there. I was like, weren't there 2 Pomeranians? No, there's 1 Pomeranian. I must have missed it.
And then Lex decides to eat the other one on the island, probably.
Yeah, that part was pretty fun. Like that, I was like, where's this? And again, it's Parker Posey. I was like, where's this humor? Hello.
Yeah, justice for Pomeranians. And
Yeah, but you can see generally the price of the movie on the screen, but not necessarily in the script, probably.
No.
Mhm.
No, I would be interested. I didn't do my usual deep dive into like what the writers had done other than this before. I want to see like what those writers had done other than this
Yeah.
film.
I mean, you can never tell from like a person's previous work. Like, you know, it's the writers from American Pie 2 worked on Rogue One. So,
Yeah.
you know, you never know.
Yeah.
never know. All right. Well, anything else to say about this movie before we go to the game?
Game time.
Sure. And I think Brandon Routh did a decent job. That's it.
I think decent is probably the description for this whole movie.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
I
it's
guess- I
not
guess
offensive.
It's not so bad that it's fun to watch because it's bad. It's also just not so good that's fun to watch because it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could just get like a super reel of all of the Parker Posey moments, that would make me happy.
Yeah. It's one of a few movies I've gone with big expectations and then lied to myself for a little bit afterwards that it was better than.
Right. We've all done that from time to time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Always.
I got a mental list.
All right. So for tonight's game, it's going to be a slightly different format from anything we've done before because in the
Ooh.
spirit of Brandon Routh taking over a well-beloved role, tonight's game is all about multiple actors who have played the same character in comic book universes. So it's going to be, I don't know if I would consider this a round robin because I don't know sports. I don't know what that means, but I think maybe this will be a round robin. So we're going to start with Vince. Vince, I'm going to name a comic book character, and you can get up to 3 points per turn if you can name up to 3 actors who played that role. If you can only
Oh,
name
wow.
one, you get 1 point. If you can name 2, you get 2 points.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
If you name 3, you get 3 points. If
Nice.
you get to a point where you're like, I don't know, but you still have more guesses, like if you can only give me 2, then it'll move down to Ben. And Ben, you have a chance to score 1 point by naming 1 extra actor who played said comic book character.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to start with Ben. Okay, let me see. I had ChatGPT compose these lists for me because I needed to come up with 10 and I
Oh,
didn't
Lord.
have all that research. So we're
Mommy.
going to try to pick characters who are kind of reasonable to think that you'd be able to name at least 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow, rip my head off. Try to
There you go. So Vince, your comic book character is Batman. Please name 3 actors. Oh, and I should specify live action for all of these. So animated and voices don't count. So
Oh, animated and voices don't count?
And there's no cheating. It's not like it's not like oh, but he was CGI'd for part of the movie. It's not that.
No, he just means no Mark Hamill.
no Mark Hamill is the joke.
Yeah.
So did you mean Vince or Ben? Because you said Ben, but then you said Vince.
Oh, well, I
Who do you
meant
want?
because he's here.
Vince.
Vince.
Okay.
Vince.
Wait, you're saying me now?
Yeah, we're starting
Yes.
with you. We're
Starting with you now.
Oh, okay.
He's named 3 Batmen.
I have to name 3 Batmen.
Oh.
Okay, Michael
Why not?
Keaton.
Okay.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Adam West.
Yeah.
And Ben Affleck.
You did
Oh.
it. Well done.
Yeah.
Gross.
You got 3 points.
You didn't even have the decency to say Val Kilmer. Jesus.
He almost
No.
beat you.
Ben Affleck.
A little bit
Ugh.
of a fall.
Come on,
Okay.
I went for Adam West. The OG.
All right. I'm very glad you said Adam West. Okay, Ben. Ben,
Sure.
you get. What do I want to give you? You get the Hulk.
The Hulk. Okay. Eric Bana, Edward Norton, Mark Ruffalo.
Very good. We also have taken Lou Ferrigno. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
This means I'm screwed because that's the 2 people I knew.
No,
Okay.
no, you get. I'm giving the 3 of you 3 easy ones on your first pass. So
Oh, okay. We'll see what you think is easy. Let's see.
Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, and Tobey Maguire.
There you go. It's a classic 3. Okay.
Wonderful.
Now
Okay.
we're gonna make it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's too hard. That's also too hard.
Come on, it's a game. We gotta.
Actually, you're right. You're right. Okay, Vince, you get. Okay, no. I'll give you a tough one.
Oh, great.
Robin / Dick Grayson.
Oh.
Burt Ward.
Okay.
And then Chris O'Donnell.
Okay.
Excuse me. I wish I knew the guy from Titans. I don't know the guy from Titans, but I do know. Oh, what's his name? He was in Third Rock from the Sun. He was in Looper. He was in. I'm forgetting that guy too.
Are you forfeiting your third point?
Yeah, I'm forfeiting my third
Ben?
point.
Ben?
Well, would this be a trick question? Because the one that he's referring to, the character's name was not Dick Grayson. And I don't know.
I mean, technically, ChatGPT only gave me 3 names, and the third one was the guy from Titans. However, I will accept the Nolan.
Okay, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Very good.
Yes, that's his name.
Yeah.
You
From,
you don't accept that guy from Third Rock?
I will always accept the guy from Third Rock. Brendan Bates is the guy from Titans. All right. Ben, so as you said, it's a game. I'm going to give you a hard one.
All right. Is it only movies or is it?
No, live action TV shows count.
As long as it's not animated.
As
Yeah.
Yeah, Burt Ward.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
there was the
Burt
Batman
Ward.
movie. So
that's
My
right.
understanding was that Burt Ward was a real victim because they forced him to take like this drug that made his balls smaller, so they didn't show up on like screen because he's like wearing these tights and like you can see his balls through the
That
tights.
sounds about right. They did all kinds of things to
Yeah.
actors back then.
that clearly smacks of the Riddler. So
Yeah.
Oh, the Riddler, you say? Okay, hold on. Yes, you get the Riddler.
Oh, the Riddler.
Yeah.
Shoot. Okay, well, if we're including, actually, he was in the movie too. Frank Gorshin, and then, Jim Carrey, and Paul Dano.
You did it.
Nice.
Dang!
Wow. Good one.
Frank, I'm very impressed by Frank Gorshin. Well done. Okay.
Oh God, I hope you give me who I think you're gonna give me. Please give me this person. I'm mentally telling you who to give me.
Wonder Woman.
Ah, damn. Close. You got the second half of the word right.
Well, I almost gave you that one.
I only know Linda Carter and Gal Gadot.
All right, those 2 count. Vince, do you care to wager a guess for a third Wonder Woman?
Wait, if I get it wrong, I lose a point?
No.
Oh, because you said wager. I thought.
Oh
Okay.
no.
I say words.
I don't know who. Let's say. I have no idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ben.
I'm drawing a blank. Was there another person?
There are
Nah.
2 more on the
There-
Chat GPT list, but these are very obscure, and I wouldn't blame anyone for not knowing what they
Yeah,
are.
I remember Sarah Michelle Gellar almost played her. I'm pretty sure that's not. But the only other, what's the only other one? I mean, there was that movie made about the creation of the comic book, but I don't know the name of the actress's name. Unfortunately,
I also don't know who either of these actresses are. One of them, maybe I should. So one is from a 1974 TV movie named Kathy Lee Crosby. Anyone? No.
No.
And then an unaired 2011 pilot for a TV show, and that was Adrienne Palicki.
So how come none of us morons knew about an unaired TV episode?
That's the question. That's the question. Right? Okay. Whose turn? Oh, we're back to Vince, right?
And
Hey,
he's gonna get my easy one.
Maybe not. Maybe he will. Vince, you get the Joker.
Ah,
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. So you got Jack Nicholson,
Of course.
and then you got Heath Ledger,
Of course.
and then I'm gonna go with do deleted scenes count?
No.
I'm gonna go with Barry Cogan. Does it say Barry Cogan?
It does say Barry Cogan. Yeah.
That's a deleted scene, and it should count.
Okay, fine. It counts. Okay.
Well, no, I actually think he is in the movie. It's just
He-
that the
yeah.
meteor bit is
Yeah.
a deleted scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Okay.
you got your 3 points. I'm surprised you didn't go for like
Yeah, or
Joaquin
Who?
Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix, yeah. Which
Oh yeah, I
technically,
forgot about
technically,
Joaquin.
if you watch the second Joaquin Phoenix one, we don't know that he was actually the Joker. He
He's
might have
not
been the
canon.
inspiration for the actual Joker, but whatever.
Mhm.
And Caesar Romero. Caesar
Yes.
Romero.
Caesar
Who I
Romero,
always want to
the
call
goat.
Bruce Valanche because he sounds like Bruce Valanche. I don't know why he like acts and he's like acting like Bruce Valanche in that show.
He does sound like Bruce Willis.
My favorite part of that,
That's
by the
great.
way, Cesar Romero, I think, does a magnificent job in that part. And if you just look at the look of the character, it's genuinely terrifying.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
He really
it's-
is. Oh my god!
Yeah.
I have a pop doll of him somewhere from the Surfs Up episode of the original Batman.
But every time I see him, I can never take my eyes off his mustache.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, because it's painted white and it's
Yeah,
so creepy.
he,
It's
like,
just like
refused
mixed
to shave
in
it
with
for the
it. It's
part.
so
He just
gross. I hate
painted
face
over
painted
it.
facial hair. It really creeps me out.
I didn't even know that was a thing until I read it as a fun fact because I didn't see it and now it's all I can see.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
pop doll,
exactly.
the plastic has little ridges right here, and they're just white like the rest of the face, and it's so creepy.
I love that. All right. Ben, your character is Lex Luthor.
Okay. Ooh. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on who he was good. The guy who played him in Lois and Clark, he was good. But
Oh.
okay. So well, Kevin Spacey,
Yeah.
Gene Hackman, John Cryer.
Yeah.
We'll take it. It's not on the list, but I know that is correct. So,
Yeah.
Didn't the guy who just died from Nip Tuck, didn't he play Lex Luthor at some point? Or am I wrong? Am I thinking of somebody
Yeah,
else?
he was Dr. Doom.
That's
Yeah.
okay. That's it. Yep,
Ah.
that's who he was. Okay.
Yeah.
Where was John Cryer Lex Luthor?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Supergirl.
He was Supergirl, and then
Oh.
also I think they called it not Clark Kent and Lois Lane or something. Superman and Lois.
Lois and Clark. Or...
Yeah.
I think it was called Superman and Lois or something. But,
We also would have accepted Jesse Eisenberg.
oh yeah, I forgot. About that.
And isn't Nicholas Holt about to play him?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I would have accepted that as well, even though
Okay.
he's not on the Chat GPT list. But again, we know.
But he,
All right, Jeanette, Catwoman.
yay.
Hey.
Michelle Pfeiffer, Anne Hathaway, and God, what the hell's that woman's name? Why can't I think of her name right now? Eartha Kitt.
Yes.
But also, no, that's not even who I was trying to think of. I went to her as a backup.
Halle
What the hell?
Berry?
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry.
Why did I keep wanting to say something else? I don't know why I didn't. But yeah, either way, I'll name them all except that woman who was very rude.
Which one? What?
Out of the brunette one. What's her name?
Julie Newmar?
Yeah, she was like
Or
really.
Merriweather?
I think it was the Merriweather
you?
one. No, not to me. She was like mean to whoever got the role or something. She was like pissed
Oh.
about somebody else getting it.
I would
Oh.
be too. If I was replaced by Eartha Kitt, I'd be pissed off.
Yeah, she was like really mad or something. She was really mean about it.
Yeah. Or Sean Young got replaced, and she no, not replaced, but she was trying for it, and she wasn't.
Well,
That was
oh,
all.
and also Joey Kravitz. That's another one.
Zoe Kravitz.
Oh yeah, Zoe Kravitz.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's ever actually. I mean, the movie itself notwithstanding, I don't think there's ever actually been a bad Catwoman. I mean, Halle Berry.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
something,
but again,
yeah.
I think Halle Berry was a victim of the movie she was
Oh, yeah.
in. I don't know
Yes.
that it was necessarily her, but yeah, I would say her and Anne Hathaway's Catwoman were my least favorite Catwoman.
I thought Anne Hathaway did a great job.
She did okay. I didn't like the way the character in the Nolan movies was written. I thought it lacked a lot of depth, like a lot of depth. But whatever. Michelle Pfeiffer to me is like my woot woot. That's my big Catwoman.
Yeah. I recently did rewatch parts of Batman and
Oh,
Returns.
Oh, we did that movie on this show once.
those Batman movies are like blankets for me. They're just like comfy.
Yeah.
warm blankets. I love those.
Yeah, they're very beautifully made, and she does an extraordinary job.
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer. So yeah.
I've still yet to see the first Michael Keaton Batman movie. I've only
Really?
seen
You still haven't
Really?
watched it?
because at one point I wanted to do Joker month here, and I was waiting for that. Like I wanted to do
Ah.
this one. I wanted to
Oh,
do.
you're gonna make me finally sit through the Jared Leto Joker. I still
Yeah,
haven't done it. I still haven't done it to myself.
Actually, no, I don't think I was going to include that. It was going to be
Oh,
Batman, Dark Knight Rises. It was going to be Joker in advance of Joker 2 coming out because I thought that was supposed to be a good movie. Then it turns out it wasn't. So
even I wanted
It
to like
was-
that. I wanted to like it so much, and
It was
so-
one of the best musical films of the year. What are you talking about?
Oh my god!
Oh,
It
I've
was
heard.
like if Walk the Line had been a really dark acid trip. It's really bad.
I don't need to see that. Okay, here we go. Final round. I'm going to give all of you obscure people now. Here we go. Sure, why not? Vince, you get Captain America.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Anthony Mackie counts.
Does he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's not. And Chris Evans.
Okay.
I've heard of him, right?
All right.
And then you've got
And then you've got
you have that guy. Like, wasn't he like the uncle, one of the uncles on Full House? And he got to play Captain America in the really
did
bad
Dave-
old one.
did Dave Coulier play?
Dave Coulier. Yeah,
America?
that's my guess.
What?
Okay,
No.
then I lose.
Captain America doing the Rocky Bullwinkle voices. That'd be cool.
I've got nothing.
Ben, do you have a guess?
The only other person I could think of, well, probably in Full House, you could think about John Stamos, but I'm not familiar with him as Captain America. But the only other person I can think of, I think temporarily, I think his name's Wyatt Russell. He becomes Captain America in the TV series Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh,
where actually did
technically,
watch
you're
it.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be my.
Okay, well, I guess if we're counting Sam Wilson, we should count him too.
Yeah.
ChatGPT only gave me Steve Rogers's, but we'll take it.
Okay.
Well, you didn't say Steve
I know.
Rogers.
I know. We were also looking for Reb Brown from the Captain America TV movies of the 1970s, or Matt Salinger from the Captain America 1990 movie.
Okay.
Is that in the 1990 movie? That's the one where he keeps stealing motorcycles. Like that's kind of his big play.
What?
He does it like 3 times in the
That's
movie.
hilarious.
Wow.
All right. Then
Anyway,
Daredevil.
Yeah.
Daredevil.
Oh, Daredevil. Oh, shoot. Oh, man. I'm going to lose this one. Okay, Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And then there was not Ben Affleck, and then not Ben Affleck.
Yeah, there's the guy who's, and I haven't seen a ton of it, but he does a very good job of it. And I'm a big fan of him, actually, who's in Boardwalk Empire. He's a great actor, and I'm completely blanking on the dude's name. I'm sure Jeanette really seems
Are we
like
going to pass? Are we going to pass Jeanette?
well, yeah, so what's the name? 3?
Well, if you can't only name one, we can pass to Jeanette. You can name up to 2.
Yeah, I'll pass it on. I don't know anything else.
No, Jeanette cannot name up to 2 because Jeanette only knows one. I know Ben Affleck. Yes.
Vince?
oh, there's that guy, Charlie something.
Yeah, Charlie.
Charlie Tucker. Charlie
Buckets.
Charlie.
Manson.
Hey, does Evil Knievel count? He was a daredevil.
No, we were looking for Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox.
Oh, see, if you
Charlie
would have just
Cox.
made a dick joke about it, it would have
Always at the
worked.
forefront of my mind, and still until 5 seconds ago.
And then the third option was Rex Smith, who was apparently Daredevil in The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, which was made for TV in 1989.
Yeah.
Oh,
So many bad made-for-TV movies.
All right, let me find the final one for Jeanette. Okay.
Who you got for me? Who you got for me? It's a real hard one.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Penguin.
Okay. See, everybody's gonna hate me because I didn't watch any of those TV shows. I've got Danny DeVito,
No.
and I'm trying to think because I do know the TV show. I just don't think I know the guy that plays him. I don't think I know his name.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I've never watched it. Yeah, there's not Danny DeVito and not Danny DeVito.
All right, Vince.
Oh, Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then, I don't know. I can see his face, the guy who played him in Gotham. I can't think of his name, though.
Yeah, same.
yeah.
I'll move it along.
Me for the steal. So the OG, Mr. Burgess Meredith.
Ah!
Yeah.
Well done. All right, so I'm going to give you your point standings before we go to the bonus round, where you get to wager as many points as you like out of your total. Let's see.
Who was the guy in Gotham? Did ChatGPT tell you?
I know he's a good actor though.
Robin Lord Taylor in Gotham.
Oh, I
okay.
never remembered that. I totally forgot about Colin Farrell because I don't like that movie.
He was
Totally
great in
forgot.
it
The show
though.
was
That
really
makeup's amazing.
Not the Penguin movie, but was he in the first Batman? He was in the first Batman, no?
Yep.
The Batman. Yeah.
The Batman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I didn't care for that very much.
Yeah, I didn't either. But Colin Farrell, I think, was great. And
Yeah.
So was Zoe Kravitz.
Mhm.
All right, these are our point standings. Jeanette, you have 9.
Mhm.
Vince, you have 11. Ben, you have 13.
Damn.
How many points do we want to wager for the bonus question?
Toto.
All of it?
All
Okay.
of it. Yep.
Vince?
I'm going to bet 10.
10. Okay. Ben?
I live on the edge. Let's do it all.
Oh, okay. So you will need to write something for this question, so please get a writing device.
Keep
A
losing
writing
my pen.
device?
Yeah, like a pencil or a pen and a piece of paper.
Okay.
There you go.
Have to... spelling will count, so you know.
Uh-oh. Is it another something de Bergerac, Diseasiac, whatever from Dune?
No.
Cyrano.
No, from Dune. What was the name? The Quids.
Krizat Haderach?
There you go.
That's Haderach.
Close, though. I would like you to write down for me, with perfect spelling, the name of the gentleman who is now playing Superman in the movie coming out this week.
Oh, I don't fucking know that guy's name. I just threw my Sharpie across the room by accident because I don't know that guy's name.
Wait, I've got it.
And actually, I'll say this. If neither of you spell it correctly... What was I going to say?
Like double OT or something?
Has he been in other stuff? I don't even know who he is.
No, he has. I guess if one of you
Plenty of
spells it
stuff.
correctly, then it counts. If neither of you spell it correctly, I guess we'll just count it. I don't know. How should we do this?
Whoever got the closest. Maybe somebody's only one letter off and
That's
somebody
true,
else is
that's
2
true.
letters off.
Well, it's whoever has the most points at the end, right?
Yeah. Well,
So Jeanette and I bet everything, and Vince, I don't think did.
I'm out, so it's
Oh,
between.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's see what we got. Vince.
Can you imagine? Could you imagine?
How dare you?
What?
Oh,
Imagine what? He put on a lot of muscle.
a lot
And-
of muscle on what?
I think I don't know if I spelled it correctly. Forgive me, internet, but I think that's the dude. I would have to
You're,
write.
you're
And
a
I
hell
think
of a
the
lot
spelling-
closer than either of us. That's for sure.
The spelling is also perfect.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Good victory, a well-deserved victory. Well
Thank
done.
you. Yeah.
All right, well there we go. So
Nice.
I guess closing thoughts on Superman Returns. Vince, what do you think about this movie?
Hey, it was fine. You know, I can't say that enough. I think its greatest strength was that it wasn't bad, except until the very end. And then they could have just tightened it up. You know, what was the official runtime on this? Should we say
2:34?
Oh God, yeah, way too much. It definitely felt like 2 hours and 34 minutes.
Yeah.
So look, you know, if you want to see a movie where you have Kevin Spacey and he's got to be defeated, where the forces of evil are taken out, you know, this is a great like fantasy.
Unfortunately, we don't see Kevin Spacey punched in the face in this film.
Yeah,
We
if you
see him
want to see the-
slapped.
Right.
He is slapped. Parker Posey hurts him more than Superman ever does in this film. I will say that.
if you want to see the forces of evil inconvenienced by the end, then
But we don't get to see Kevin Spacey punched in his facey.
No.
Yep. Well, anyway, look, what else is there to say? You know, it's fine. Frank Langella is great. And that's all I have to say about that. You know, I'm looking forward to talking about Man of Steel, but I have to get through Man of Steel first. So
Ay.
we'll
Doesn't he
see.
snap him by his neck?
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Me too. Can't wait. Ben, what do you think of this movie?
Yeah, I mean, nothing to add to what I've said previously. Like I said, it was unfortunately rather boring, but I mean, it's an awful lot of very talented people who did it and are in it, and you know, I'd love to see him in more stuff. I'd love to see if Ava Marie Saint wants to come back. I'm fully on board, and yeah, but unfortunately, a disappointment. I saw it, but you know. We live on. I am, you know, I must say that I'm not, I don't go out of my way to really look for superhero movies anymore, but I have heard things about this new one, and it does make me curious to see it. So I do have high expectations for that. So
Fun.
Yeah.
Right. Jeanette?
Yeah, like I said, I was more entertained by this one somehow, even though it had less comedy. I don't know. I just was more in tune to it, but it's not great. It's not bad. I probably will never watch it again. But all of these Superman movies are making me more and more excited because I know what James Gunn brings to the table, and it's getting me very, very, very hyped to be happy about a Superman movie because I'm almost positive I will be with this new one.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's bad, but we'll find out.
Imagine if it's the first James Gunn movie I don't like.
Wow.
Well, we'll see. Okay, well, it's that time, everyone. I'm going to give you a chance to be highlighted. Tell everyone who you are, what you do, where they can find you, and anything else you want them to know. We'll start with Vince.
Oh, hey, you know, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, you can follow me on Instagram at Vinny Ridge, kind of like the famous World War I battle, but with 2 N's instead of 1 M. You ever notice how 2 N's kind of look like 1 M? You know, you had a bit to drink, you know, you're reading a book. People still do that. Anyway, you know, Superman was good. You know, I guess, yeah. Hey, see you guys.
Hello. I am Tinker J. You can find me at TinkerJ787 on Instagram. You can find me at We Like Theme Parks podcast on Instagram. You should check out our new episode tomorrow. It's me and Matt, and we're talking about my super fun trip to Epic Universe and a little bit of news. Yeah, and you should check out that episode, and you should find, you know, Teacup for One next week, and then not the next week after that, but the week after that.
Woot! All right. Thank you. Ben, it's your turn.
Yeah. I'm going to be completely honest. I kind of even forgot my Instagram handle because I recently signed up for it. Yes, I'm Ben Dooley. You can find me on Instagram, Ben Dooley 87, correct? Yep.
Underscore. Yes. Ben _ Dooley 87.
Yes. Wonderful. And had a wonderful time. Be sure to tune in next week. I know that's your line, but
it's okay. You said it for me. Thank you. My turn. There we go. Yeah, Ben said it for me, but yeah, tune in next week. We're going to be talking about Man of Steel, the infamous Superman movie where I think he snaps a guy's neck. So that'll be fun. Not for the guy whose neck got snapped. And then we're not here the week after because I'm going to see a Postmodern Jukebox concert. Woot. But then we're here for the final Wednesday of the month to talk about the brand new Superman movie. So it comes out literally kind of today, kind of tomorrow. It also kind of came out on Monday. Who knows? It came out this week. So yeah, go check it out. Join us on this Superman journey. But until then, keep an eye on the channel because who knows what I'll post. It'll probably be a review about something, or maybe I'll finally get my Dorothy video done. We'll see. But until then, Matt, 2 degrees, teacup for 1. How do you end this? Boom.